Good morning and welcome to the African bush. That is the most numerous antelope in Africa, the impala, and there is the eastern horizon. And we're on search for male lions, and this is Safari Live. Ready. Standing by.
4, 3, 2, 1. You are live, you are live.
Good morning and welcome to the middle of the African bush. My name is Brent. I have VM on camera, and last night there were lions roaring everywhere. So we are out and about in the cold early morning. It's about 8 degrees Celsius, 45 Fahrenheit, and we're hoping to find a Birmingham boy. A Birmingham boy is the coalition of male lions that live in this area, and they were roaring their heads off last night. Hopefully they're still around, and hopefully we're going to find them quite shortly. It is an absolutely gorgeous winter's morning. Few clouds around, but nothing to worry about. You can see, nice and chilly, and that means the big cats are going to be on the move. So let's see if we can find them. So while we stick on our big cat hunt, let's go across to James and Zander on the other vehicle, who have got an exquisite African sunrise.
There it is, everybody, the rising of the sun. Isn't that lovely? What a privilege it is to sit here just about every single day and watch that peep up over the eastern horizon. Good morning to all of you. I hope this finds you in fine fettle wherever you happen to be on this great planet of ours. My name is James Henry. On camera today is Iqanda the egg from Cape Town, and I hope he enjoys his new name. Right, we're going to be going down towards the south of the reserve today to see if we can find perhaps sign of leopard, shadow, or whatever else, other leopard. I'll happily take Karula or anyone. But basically we're just going to enjoy the morning and see what's going on. The night has left fresh signs all over the road from where we are, so that's what we're going to read and discover and see what we can find. It is a fairly chilly 8 degrees Celsius, 42 degrees or 47 degrees Fahrenheit, and that's a bit odd actually. I thought it was going to be a bit warmer than that, but I think it'll warm up during the day. The sun, as you can now see, if we just have one last look at it there, you can see is unfettered by cloud. There's no rain blowing at all, which is very lovely. Not rain, there's no wind blowing at all, and there's a very quiet dawn chorus this morning. And I've just been sat here for the last 10 minutes or so, waiting for the sun to come up and feeling rather peaceful. For those of you who are wondering why on earth the cameraman's name is Iqanda the egg, well, it's quite a complicated story, but it basically comes from a viewer who misheard how I said the word Qanda, and Qanda would be how you pronounced Zander if you were to pronounce it with the Zulu pronunciation, and egg in Zulu is Iqanda, and so I think we're going to call him Iqanda from now on. Iqanda the egg on camera today. We're as live as Brent. Please talk to us, hashtag Safari Live, questions at wildearth.tv, and talk to us about anything you'd like to. Well, within reason, of course, and we'll see if we can answer your questions, and we'll enjoy your commentary. And mostly, of course, we will learn from you, which is the best part of this job that we do here. Well, other than being able to live here, of course. Now, we are going into, well, we're in August now, of course, so we're heading towards the spring at quite a speed. And there's a different smell about the earth at the moment. A little bit of smoke from bushfires, quite a lot of wind in August, which means there's a bit of dust up in the air. The sort of cinnamon scent of the leaf litter on the ground is starting to fade, as those leaves disappear into the ground and the oils that are on them disappear. And so it's got a very distinct smell about it, the August, and it always reminds me, I mean, we all know how our sense of smell can trigger memories. It always reminds me of my sort of first experience of wilderness as a child, when we were in the mountains of the Drakensberg, not close to here, quite a long way south of here, in a place called Natal. And down there we used to go every August as a family and spend a week. And I can remember the smells of that place during the August, and the long grass. And it was the first time, I think I was quite late in my teenage years, probably about 16, when I sat looking at the thatching grass moving in the August wind. And it was the first time that I was touched properly by the wilderness. And here I find myself as a result. Well, various other things conspired to bring me here, but that was one of them. There is a waterbuck. Good morning, little waterbuck. It's not a large waterbuck. Indeed, it is a small waterbuck. Still with much fur. Now, they don't get much less furry during the summer months. And I was trying to find out why on earth they should be such fluffy creatures when they live in a climate that is inescapably not cold compared with many in the world. And apparently that hair, although it is thicker during the winter, is still thick during the summer, but apparently it's actually quite sparse. So while it's quite long, it's quite sparsely distributed. That particular one looks like a bear, mixed with a donkey. I wonder why he's on his own. Now, oh, he's not. There are a few behind there. I can see some movement there. What is interesting is that a lot of questions about waterbuck being eaten. Now, many of you will know that they have that distinctive musky smell, which I think is very pleasant indeed. But it is often said that predators avoid them because of that smell, and it's difficult to make a case for the opposite until yesterday, when the Nkuhuma Pride killed a waterbuck and ate it. We weren't with them when they killed it. It was probably killed in the middle of the day. It was quite a cool day yesterday. And so lions will eat waterbuck, absolutely, and I think we don't find them being eaten by animals like leopard, for example, largely because they're too big for leopards to kill. There are easier things to kill, but perhaps that smell does have some kind of predatory deterrent on it. Look at those colours. It's also a unique feature of this time of the year. Just revelling, loving that new green short grass, born of the little bit of rain we had about 3 weeks ago. No lions calling this morning. I think some very far in the distance. No leopards calling either. And all I can hear by way of birds now, a few francolins, a couple of drongos, and one or two doves. And way in the distance, the ground hornbill, which of course also has a very nice Zulu name, Itututu. Would you like to say that, Zanda? I feel it'll make you feel good. There we go. Itututu. Wonderful. If I'm not mistaken, there was a regiment during the Battle of Isandlwana, which was a very famous battle that was fought between the Zulus and the British here in South Africa. And I think there was a Zulu regiment, if I'm not mistaken, called the Utututu. I suppose it's quite a good name for a regiment, but I mean next to them they had the Indluyengwe, which meant the house of the leopard, which sounds very military, but I'm not sure that the ground hornbill regiment sounds that military. The Utututu. Alrighty, we're going to continue to the south as the sun continues to cast a golden glow across the low veld. Let us head across to Brent Smith, whose young, youthful looks are no doubt shining in the golden sun.
Well, James, you're so kind. So what VM and I are doing is we've turned off our engine and we're just freewheeling down this hill. It gives me a chance to use my ears a bit more, and I'm hoping to hear the roar of a male lion. And they were roaring all around last night. Those who are Juma Can aficionados would have heard those males. They were so close to camp last night that the walls seemed to vibrate. A very warm Safari Live welcome to Jason. Jason's wondering, why do male lions call throughout the night? Now, there's a couple of different reasons, Jason. The main reason is to tell everyone that this is their territory, this is their spot. They're large and in charge. Now, yesterday we had two Birminghams here on Juma. There was a third on Cheetah Plains, and I'm not sure where the fourth was. I think he was in Buffalo's Hook. Now, the other reason they call is to let each other know where they are. And the second reason, the third reason would be sometimes to call for backup. If there was other male lions making a foray into their territory. Now, the best way to explain what a male lion is saying is the way I was taught as a small child in the bush by my father and grandfather. When a male lion roars, what he's saying, whose land is it? Whose land is it? Whose land is it? It's mine. It's mine. It's mine. So he's telling all the other lions around that this is his territory or their territory, and trying to keep the other lions away. So if there are four of you calling and making an extreme noise, and there's two young males who might be moving into the area, they think, oh, that might not be a good place to go. There's four big boys there who will give us a hiding if we come into this area. And of course there's always the, where are you? Where are you? And the reply, I'm here! I'm here! So just so they can keep in contact. Now, a coalition of four males controls a massive area. They probably have about 16 to 20,000 acres that fall under their dominion. So if they stay together all the time, it's very difficult to patrol. So they're often split into two or one, and they patrol around. There's an incredible amount of aardvark tracks this morning. Okay, so here we go, aardvark tracks. We're gonna find one this dry season. Hey, BM, it's our mission to see an aardvark. Wouldn't that be exciting? Now, for those of you not sure what an aardvark is, basically the translation, aardvark is an Afrikaans word that has become the name. The English name is an ant bear, but very few people use that. Aardvark basically means an earth pig. Now, they are responsible for most of the large excavations out here in the bush, providing homes for hyenas, wild dogs, warthogs, porcupines, and lots of other creatures. And they, of course, are termite eaters. So when they excavate to eat termites, it creates a wonderful home for many, many creatures. Very strange looking creature, the aardvark. I recommend you Google it. And fingers crossed we're going to see one this dry season. So this is the area I think that those male lions might have crossed. And so I'm going so slowly, or came out. We heard them coming from camp, and it sounded like they walked through this area. Yeah. Oh dear. Oh, coming in. Oh, yay. VM has spotted some lion tracks, so we're going to investigate them. Female tracks. No, it's a male and a female. I'm just trying to see if those are from last night or if they've been... I think they might be from yesterday. I think that's where they came back in from. But we'll keep checking, so... no, unfortunately I don't think those are particularly fresh. Yesterday, so not that bad. Now, wouldn't it be nice if they just started roaring right now? Darn actors not getting their cues today. We're going to keep checking carefully along our northern boundary. While we do that, let's see how James is glowing in the sun.
We've found some leopard tracks, everyone, but I don't think they're very fresh. And they're right on the southern boundary, I'm afraid. Male leopard. Freshish. Going along the road here. Looks like young male leopard. Unfortunately, this is the southern boundary, so unless this leopard is lurking on the termite mound here, or has perhaps killed something in this immediate vicinity, there his tracks go. I will try and show you one and find a nice one to show you. I think he's going to go across the road and leave us. Hang on a second. I'm going to feel slightly incomplete if I don't find precisely where he went. There he is. He's over there. 1, 2, 3. That's it. That's where he went. I'm just going to try and find you a track quickly that is in the sun, so you'll actually be able to see it, as opposed to just hear me tell you about it. They're just not very obvious ones, everyone, otherwise I would show you one. No, I'm afraid not. Right, I want to go the other way. I want to go along here and see if Karula hasn't popped back across to visit us with her babies. So this is our southern boundary, and I know we have had a few new viewers of late. That means that we obviously can't go further south of here, otherwise we could have followed those male leopard tracks, for example. But animals can come and go as they please. There are no fences hindering their movements. There are only human property laws that hinder our movements. But also, of course, we can't go absolutely anywhere because then we'd lose signal with you. So we're operating on a little spot called Juma at the moment. And Juma is about, if I'm not mistaken, 1,200 hectares. 3,500 acres. Here are some impalas. Hello, impalas. Oh, there's one who's got a broken horn. Can you see that, Kanda? That one there, just coming into view now. No, there, to the right. Kanda, are you struggling to find this one-horned impala? Hang on, there he is. He's the one back there. He's got his head now behind a bush. Never mind. Never mind. Yes, he's the one that we can see who's... That's him. He's missing half a horn, as you just may have glimpsed there. And the other thing to see here, if you just come back a little bit to that one that's close to us, there you can see the bottom of that tree there that's been scraped. That one behind there, yeah. That's buffalo scratching their heads and exposing the tannin, which is that rich red colour on the Maruda tree. Elephant tusk mark there, or possibly a buffalo horn mark. Perfect light, golden hour as they call it. And all we need now is a leopard and her 2 cubs. Let's go a little bit forward. There's some more impala crossing the road here. And now what I want to try and see, or let's try and note how many of the females are pregnant, and let's see if they're actually starting to show yet. Come on. Stay. Big herd of impala, that. Listen to them. Listen to their footfalls. You can hear the greater blue-eared glossy starling going wah, wah, just above us. Hornbill. Pop, 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 pop. Crested barbet. Now all these birds are above us because they're in the jackalberry tree, and this jackalberry tree seems to be producing fruit already. In Siberia Zumi, you want to see a crested or collared barbet, ideally a collared barbet. Well, this tree that we're sitting underneath, or will be sitting underneath shortly, I'm going to move forward just now, is full of jackalberry fruits, and barbets love jackalberry fruits, so we've got a pretty good chance, I'd say, of seeing one in there. If you go a little bit forward, such a magical morning scene with the impala in the sunlight. Now, this tree, Zunde, will give you nightmares, of course, because this is the tree that I tried to make him find a crested barbet in the other day. But there is a mass of bird life in this tree. It's a jackalberry, like I say, and there are fruits in it, and therefore we've got those starlings, which are not normally frugivorous, but at this time of the year they'll take anything they can get. We've got the hornbills, we've got a few grey go-away birds. I can see a green pigeon in there. That's the starling. That's a greater blue-eared glossy starling, so you can hear it going wah. There's at least 2 species of hornbill in here, a yellow-billed and a grey. That's the grey go-away bird's tail, you can see there. So and there you can see the fruits there, everyone, just shining in the light there. There's the grey hornbill. Yeah, all the delicious fruits, and they are quite sweet. They're really quite nice to eat. Now let's see if we can find a barbet in here for Siberia Zumi. But I don't see any. You know, this is quite strange. If you sit here for long enough today, I promise you the barbets will come. Look at them all. The tree is alive with birds. Isn't that cool? There you can hear a barbet now, Siberia. But not from this tree. It's so cool. Isn't that a lovely call of the greater blue-eared glossy starling? Shouting at each other. Oh my goodness. There's an Indian miner. There's an Indian miner there. That's not good. think that's what that is. No, it's not. Sorry, I'm talking rubbish. Thank goodness. I just saw the white underflash. It's a Retz's helmet shrike. I don't know how many of you have got Retz's helmet shrike on your bird list. I'll try and find it for you. Zander, it is... There's a flock of them. Just go into them there. You see that blackish bird there on the top? They're there.
Yeah.
You got it now? There, that's it. Well done. Good spot. Brilliant. That is the Retz's helmet shrike, everyone. Very nice. Ha! Beautiful bird. I'm not sure we've had one like that on. I'm sure we've seen them before, but that's a really good picture of one. The one bird I truly expected to find was a barbet, but I'm afraid Siberia, no barbet in here that I can see. There might be one. Hang on a sec. That's the hornbill. Fantastic. And sit under this tree all morning. What else we can find in here? What is that? That sound? That's probably the helmet shrike going. Ticka, 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 ticka. Everyone seems to be getting very vociferous. Obviously not wanting their fruits stolen. Well, most of these birds in here, you know, are not frugivorous all the time. They are, I mean, the helmet shrikes and the starlings are largely insectivorous when they can be, and the hornbills pretty much the same. Well, they just eat just about anything, but because this is basically all there is to eat now, there's a helmet shrike again, right close to us. There, can you hear that? That's them. There we are. Brilliant stuff. Chased off. So cool. Alright everyone, let's move on from here. It looks like there's a little bit of a traffic build-up on the road. Fantastic sighting that, of all those wonderful birds. Siberia, I will try and find you a barbet during the course of the morning. Morning. And there's some zebra to our right hand side. Morning. How's it going? Good. Any updates? Nothing so far. Morning.
Sticks are somewhere down on the base.
Okay. Cool.
It sounds like that dollar from yesterday.
In north. Cool. Okay.
That's yourself.
Wonderful. Enjoy.
Enjoy.
Bye bye. Just getting an update there. And he says the dogs are on Chitwa Chitwa. Styx Pride, no one knows. Male lion from Cheetah Plains yesterday gone up into the north, which is not surprising given that it sounds like some of the other males that we were looking went up to the north, and that's all there is so far. What an amazing bird sighting that was. That was very cool. Well done, Nkanda. Not easy to do birds, especially so early in your career as a live wildlife cameraman. Sarah, nice one from you about the birds. You say, do we ever get southern masked weavers? Yes, we do. In the summertime, and we find them in the winter too, but remember they don't have their summer plumage, that beautiful golden plumage with the black mask around the face. They don't have that now. As we go into the summer, they will get that. Then, you want to know about the southern red bishop. Stunning bird, bright red bird. I'll show you a picture of it, in fact, because I think otherwise it'll be... you shall miss out. We don't get them here because it's not wet enough. They generally like to live in much wetter areas and reed beds, and so that's where we'll find them. But the southern masked weaver we should find. That's him there, the first one over there. Beautiful yellow bird with a yellow face, or at least a black face. But that's what they look like in summertime. The females, they're very indistinct. They're not even as yellow as that normally. And then the bishop, look at him, he's a wonderful thing. There's the southern red bishop there. Stunning birds. I remember we used to see them as kids up on the Highveld, up around Johannesburg. And we had a particularly nasty house cat called Miss Brown, and Miss Brown used to catch red bishops, much to the great consternation of the rest of the family. And the number of red bishops we used to have to keep in shoe boxes until one or two of them recovered. Most of them succumbed to their injuries, or Miss Brown would find the shoe box and devour them. So I know the red bishop quite well. There we go. Chris Rogue has got 237, is that correct? 237 birds. And the wretch's helmet shrike was number 237. All right, let's head back across to Brent Leo Smith, see what he's got to tell you, and we'll continue our little sojourn to the east.
Well, we're nearly finished heading to the east. Oh, hello, Impalalas. Impala in beautiful morning light. Now, unfortunately, we found tracks of the hole in Kahuma Pride, and they decided to go visit the north. That was a very strange little noise, Mr. Impala. So the hole in Kahuma Pride is crossed to the north, so that's unfortunate for us, but that's fine. We'll go check for something else, because for everything that goes out, something must come in. So we are almost at the end of our northern boundary, and we're going to hit the eastern boundary, loop back towards the Buffalo's Hook waterhole, see if anything's cracking in that area. So we know where the lions are, so now we're in search of the other cats. The spotted variety, in particular, leopard, but I wouldn't say no to a cheetah either. The last cheetah I saw, stranger enough, was not far from here on foot. Unfortunately, he was a bit skittish. We couldn't get him on camera. He disappeared. My blanket was caught in the doors and I tried to move. It is a spectacular morning so far. A very warm welcome to Jeanette. And Jeanette would like to know, will one big cat kill another for food? Not normally, but they will. I have seen male lions eat other lions, and I have seen them also eat leopard. I have seen male leopard eat leopard cubs, and I've actually even seen a female leopard eat leopard cubs. So it is possible, but it's abnormal behavior. Quite often, even if a lion kills a leopard, it'll just kill it and leave it and move on. Hyenas will eat everything, including their dead relatives. Okay, so no sign of any tracks yet. It's actually been relatively quiet. We haven't seen anything apart from those impala that we just passed. A bit jealous of James and his bird party. I love a good bird party. Okay. So we're about to reach the edge of our eastern, or the corner of our eastern and northern boundaries. And I said we'll go south for a little bit and then head down towards the Buffalo's Hook waterhole. Now, I think it is time. Oh, in my ear. Ah. Oh dear. Bad news. Aubrey has found where Shadow made a kill near Impala Plains, but it seems like she didn't put it in a tree. The hyenas stole it and she's headed to the northwest. So that's very unfortunate for Shadow and for us. It's always different if you look at different leopards and their... Sorry, I thought I saw something there. And their different behavior. So you've got a leopard like Krula who hoists more often than not, and then her daughter, Shadow, who doesn't hoist often, and therefore loses quite a lot of kills to other predators. But also, I think there's a direct link between her success as a mother as well. So, of course, a kill on the ground is far more, if you've got cubs, is far more a threat to other predators. Therefore, the cubs are far more a threat as opposed to a kill in a tree. So, I think there's definitely a direct link in her success as a mother. She's only raised one cub to adulthood, where Krula's raised, I don't know, 8. Might not be exactly 8. I'm trying to think. Mishu and Duna, Shavambalan, Shavinzi, Shadow, Tundi. Might be missing, so 6, plus the 2 now, 8. I might be missing one somewhere. If I am, let me know. Oh, Quarantine Kunuma! Yeah. So 8, possibly 10 if these 2 survive. And where Shadow is looking at 1. I was so busy concentrating trying to remember the leopards from before my time that I forgot the ones from my time. Okay, so it is a little quiet out here, but we know that can change in an instant. So I think we're going to get the grey matter going with a little quiz. See how awake everyone is. Okay, let's think. Let's do a bird. We've been doing quite a few mammals. Speaking of a bird, there's a female red-crested korhaan. And that is very funny because I was going to literally ask a bird question about a member of the bustard family, which this is. And the question is, and I gave a little hint there, what is the heaviest flying bird in the world? And if you know what that is, questions at WildEarth.tv or hashtags for live. But from a ground-dwelling bird to a nocturnal bird with James.
Everybody is very cross, very angry pearl-spotted owl there. You can hear them calling. He's gone off to the right there, Higgy. Somewhere in there. I'm sure you heard them going there. I'll try and call them back here. Here. Flying straight over the top of us. There he is. I just don't want to move the car. Can you see him?
Yep.
He's in that tree. There he is. Well spotted. Geez, that's brilliant. Well done. Listen to them. There you can see him calling. Now the pearl-spotted owl, unlike most owls, is not in fact strictly nocturnal at all. In fact, they are largely diurnal, if I'm not mistaken, and they eat other birds. Isn't that a nice sound? Oh, brilliant. Look at that. That's an awesome shot. It is often active by day, but hunts and calls mostly at night. So they are nocturnal as well, bit of both. Very nice. That's, I've got to tell you, these are the same two we saw in exactly the same position the other day. We were sitting around here and looking at, I think it was at some elephants, and then these two started calling. So they're the only two on Juma I've ever found that speak the dialect of pearl-spotted owl that I speak. We'll try and get him to call once more. There he is. He's so cross. And they've got the angriest faces. Yeah, he's behind the bush, the tree, the leaves. Alright everybody, let's carry on from there. Such fun. I can still hear him going. Alright, let's see what else we can find. I was kind of hoping to see some leopard tracks here, but I'm afraid I haven't found any. But that's okay. We came past Treehouse Dam, where there was not much going on, except some rehabilitation of the new works, of the earthworks, so that when the rains do eventually come, either this year or in 2025, then there won't be any erosion. Now, just those single set of male leopard tracks heading south out of the reserve this morning, otherwise not much going on. Alright, we're going to continue down this way. Let's go back to Brent, get an update from him, and hopefully the bushwalk will get going at some stage.
So we are on our way down towards the Buffalo's Hook waterhole. I'm taking a slightly extended route, still checking for tracks. Oh, hello, tracks. That's very interesting. There's tracks of a male lion here. They don't look that fresh, unfortunately. I think everyone's driven around to look at them, and so they haven't been driven over, but they are not fresh, unfortunately. But unfortunately no male lions calling this morning. Now, of course, there's 4 Birminghams, and as I said, they split up regularly, so there's possibly still a Birmingham on Juma somewhere, so we'll keep checking. Well done to Jen B, Robin and Chris Rogue, who got the bird quiz correct. The heaviest flying bird in the world is, of course, the Corey bustard. And I'm still waiting. I think we might see one at Cheetah Plains. And look at that. A Steenbokkie in beautiful golden light. Little female. that is not disappearing at a rate of knots. Now, in the Tswana language, which is spoken to the north of here and in Botswana, they have, I think, probably one of the coolest names. They're called Pududuhudu. Now try to say that, Pududuhudu. There's actually a little village on the edge of Naipan National Park that is named after the Steenbok. It is the village of Pududuhudu. We used to stop there on our travels from boarding school to Maun, and at Pududuhudu we were allowed a sweet or an ice cream. Now, even on our long trips home to Botswana, what is that? It's a hyena. On our long trips home, we used to see some incredible things, especially once we got through most of the western part of Botswana and got into the north from a little town called Nata. We'd see elephants, wild dogs, leopards, sable, roan, pududuhudus, duikers, wildebeests, and many, many ostriches. Okay. Still just checking very carefully, because we did have that little bit of rain. It's made the ground a bit harder. And it's quite what? Oh, there we go. Well spotted, Vim. Not the most relaxed striped donkey in the world. Now, where are the other striped donkeys? It looks like a male. It is a male. Now, if you see a single zebra, it's quite often a male. And this one looks like quite a big one. So maybe he's a male who's been ousted from his harem, or we can't see his harem just yet. Let's sneak forward a bit. Now, on my way home across quarantine last night, there must have been about 30 zebras out in the open area. And then I think the lions wandered nearby and sent them all scattering. Let's try to find a gap through the bushes. There we go. How's that, Liam? Oh, no, let me go forward. There we go. Framed by the bush. Hello, fatty. I'm still checking. I don't see any other zebras around, so I think it could be a stallion who's been ousted from his harem, or he's about to challenge for a harem. You can see the male zebra's necks are much thicker. And I'll be very happy with a slight green flush that's on the grass at the moment from that little bit of rain. Well, there have been quite a few attempts to domesticate zebra, specifically when the lowveld of South Africa was still tsetse fly country. So what happened, as soon as you brought down a horse or an ox, it would die. So, salted oxen or salted horses, which means they had survived sleeping sickness from the tsetse fly, were literally worth their weight in gold in those days to the early traders and trappers. And so a couple of people thought, well, we see zebras, they look quite a lot like horses or donkeys, so maybe we can domesticate them and get them to pull our carts and into the lowveld, into the fly country, as it was then known. And the problem is, it turns out, well, zebras don't have the best temperaments. They are incredibly aggressive and volatile animals, so they're very hard to domesticate. And then even if you succeeded in domesticating them, they are not bred for load carrying, so they really struggle to pull any form of load. So it was quite a big failure. But there are some incredible old photographs of a team of zebras attached to a cart, But while we keep checking around here, maybe we'll find some more zebras, none attached to a cart, of course. James has got one of the strangest looking birds in the bush.
I don't think they look that strange, but they do have the most amazing behaviour. Now just watch carefully. They've been sitting here calling, and then they do this, it is quite strange actually, they do this sort of bizarre display. Just watch this fellow here. So they do the normal call, now they get each other into a frenzy. See if they do it again. Watch the, now I know they're on camera, of course. I love the way these guys, here we go. Watch. No, not this time. Keep watching, everybody. Don't go away. I'm sure they'll do it this time. Come on. Don't let me down. Here we go. Come on. There we go. I don't know why that's so funny to me, but it's hilarious. Well done. Thank you very much, gentle hornbills. I'm afraid not much else going on out here, but it's such a pleasant morning to be out that I really can't bring myself to care too deeply. It's just so nice out here. Not so, Eggs Malone? Maybe we'll pop over the damn wall here and find a giant pride of lions that have flown into the area during the night. No, not so much. I think what we'll do, we just sort of, Brent is operating around the north of Djuma. We've kind of traversed much of the south, so we'll head off to Arathusa, I think, from here. Now, on the road there is a grey go-away bird, but in the jackalberry tree above there is another bird party going on, probably as a result of the jackalberries. And most importantly for Siberia Zumi, there is a barbet calling in the tree, going. So what we'll do is we'll get a little bit closer in there and see if we can't spot him. Poor go-away bird has been chased off the road now. Sham, son, you want to see a white-browed scrub robin. You say we always hear them, but we seldom see them. Yes, you're absolutely right. That is the truth. No, I don't even... Can you even see into this tree? You can, eh? We'll just try and see what else there is in here. There's some bulbuls. Can't see them, though. Now, this is quite interesting here because people often say, well, you know, we want to go birding in the rainforest because we'll see lots of birds. Just look up into this tree. It's actually really difficult to find birds in big trees like this. The angle is difficult and the foliage is so thick. There are lots of grey go-away birds in here. Now what I'm going to try and do also is find some jackalberry fruits to feed our new friend Eggs Malone, because I'm not sure that he's had the pleasure of jackalberry fruits, have you? Eggs? Not yet. I see one. Let me fetch it for you. You keep trying to find the crested barbet. I'm going to quietly alight from the vehicle and hope the birds don't all fly off. I'm being about as stealthy as a buffalo as I drop my microphone. Now eggs, these are not particularly ripe, but I'll try and find you a ripe one. They're all just kind of coming into fruit, everybody. They're not quite ready yet. But that doesn't stop the birds eating them, because they've had on the back end of a hard, dry season. And very few ripe ones. But eventually, when this tree does get into the swing of producing its fruit properly, it'll drop lots and lots and lots of different fruits on the ground, more than can be consumed. So there'll be lots of wastage. Anyway, here is a fruit which I'm not going to feed to eggs, because it's going to be difficult for him to eat it. It's not very soft, and it's not ripe yet. It really doesn't taste nice at all. Ugh, that's horrible. Okay, they are deliciously sweet when you find them ripe. You can make jam out of them. Lots of animals like to eat them, including monkeys and even jackals. It gets its name, of course, jackalberry, from the fact that jackals like to eat it. Put my blankie on my leg ears again, and on we go. I'm just going to... Eggs, can you see through there? It looks like a... it's not a bird. I think it's just a stick. Sorry. I think it's just a stick. It is just a stick. Never mind. Delete all reference. Let us continue. Sorry for making you level your camera with no point. Siberia, I failed to find you a barbet there. I'm sorry about that. I will keep trying. Great deal of mammal life out this morning, although we have seen some nice general game, I suppose. Water bucket, impala, zebra, steenbok. I'm including Brent's list here, of course. No large hairies. But it is such a gorgeous morning. It's still very chilly here in the dips. Zander is rubbing his hands together. It's much better that he stays cold, of course. We don't want him hard-boiled. Which is what he will be in summer. Right. We're going to turn back towards the west now and slowly make our way to Aratuza. But what we are going to do is drive very carefully along this road. I haven't seen any Karula tracks, but lots and lots of traffic up and down that road. And when she has come on to Juma of late, this is round about where she's been bringing the youngsters. Who I really feel I'd like to spend some time with this morning, but I don't think she's come back. Now I can hear a white-browed scrub robin in there, but to see one is not easy. We'll keep trying to do that also. Just have a look at the heartwood of this tree, if you don't mind. Khanda. Now, this is a knobthorn tree, everybody, and what I would like you to notice, or perhaps you can notice, is that it's, I don't know, you probably can't see, but it's really hard. It's tremendously hard, and much of the wood out here is very hard. And so if you can get a piece of wood like this and you can plank it, you can really make a lot of, you can get beautiful wood from the hardwoods out here. But because most of them, in the presence of elephants like this, they break and they cut in pieces and they grow all scraggly because of the elephants. It's very difficult to actually get some sort of planking timber from the wood here, but you can see how when you do get it, the colour is just spectacular, and that's the heartwood there of Acacia nigrescens, the knobthorn. Very hard. Very slow growing. I mean, just look at what the elephants have done to this tree here. This is Combretum calinum, and you will find Combretum calinum makes magnificent planks if you can grow it in the absence of elephants. Now, people don't grow it commercially, of course, because it does grow so very slowly, and it's very, very dense. That'll be denser than water, which means that if you take a piece of dry wood and you put it in water, Zander, what will happen to it? It will sink to the bottom. You got that one incorrect. You had a 50-50 chance. You went with the wrong one. Never mind. We shall go through the physics. On we go. We were going to have bushwalk out this morning as well, everybody, but I see that there has now been some kind of catastrophic failure on it, and so it won't be going out. It's not actually catastrophic, I just really like the word catastrophic. It sounds so dramatic. But bushwalk will be up and running hopefully tomorrow or the next day or Monday or something like that. Now, hello Charlotte in Denmark. We often also talk about Aramark babblers, but we seldom see them. There were some in plain view, they're not in view anymore. Charlotte, do you want to know when the impala are going to give birth? Normally it's around about the first rains, which will be the end of November, early December, somewhere around there. So that is a wonderful time of the year. And all the little lambs are knocking about. It can be quite a sad time of the year too, because many of them get knocked off by the predators. It is not unusual to find an impala lamb draped from the limbs of a tree. And I imagine by then, of course, how old will young Hosanna and Shongile? They will be by then 10 months old, so it is quite conceivable that both of them will be able to make a solo kill of an impala lamb by the time those little chaps come along. They, of course, have just celebrated a little monthversary on the 2nd of August. Okay, not much going on here. I'm going to start moving a little bit quicker towards the west. Let's head across to Brent and find out what he's doing.
We have a white-backed vulture. Now, always worth a look if there's a vulture around. Is there a kill? But I think this one's just sunning itself. It had a nap on that tree last night and waiting for it to warm up so it can catch a thermal. And, oh. Hello, hello. Let's have a look through this gap. What is there? It is a giraffe. Virm's favourite animal. And he's got an oxpecker on his horns. And he's eating a tamburti tree. Must have an upset stomach. Or an infestation of tapeworm. So the tree he's eating is quite noxious. And a few species will eat it if they've got tapeworms. I think he might just be eating it because there's not much else to eat in the drought. A nice big giraffe. Massive creature. The tallest living land mammal. Can weigh over 10,000 pounds. No, sorry, I lie. Completely. 2,000 kilograms. What's that? 2.2. 5,000 pounds. Yes, maths is not my strong point. Yeah, it's lovely long legs. Enable them to walk quite swiftly, which is where their name comes from. It's from the Arabic zarafa, and the one who walks swiftly. He's really attacking that Timberti. Their tongues are about 50 centimeters long. They're able to wrap it around leaves, branches, to pull the leaves off. I mean, this is a ferocious giraffe. I haven't seen a giraffe attack a tree like that for a long time. Hungry giraffe. Normally they stare at us ruminating. Well, Amy is so happy to see giraffe. So am I, Amy. Nice big male. Now, of course, apart from his massive size, which is an easy tell that it's a male, his horns give him away. A nice way to remember Amy is males are bald, there's no hair on top of his horns, and females don't go bald. Look at that, he licked his nostril. Sis. Listening? What can you hear, Mr. Giraffe? They're incredibly silent animals compared to the rest of the animals in the bush. They do make some low grunts and snorts, but very, very seldom. The only time I've seen them doing that is when they've had lions attached to them or during game capture. And you see that bulbous bump in the middle of his forehead. Now, that's a build-up of scar tissue from fighting. So giraffe use their heads to beat each other, and they swing those long necks. Now, for a long time, people thought a giraffe's long neck was an evolutionary adaptation for feeding. But the more research is done, it's actually an evolutionary adaptation for fighting. The longer the neck, the bigger the fulcrum, the harder you can hit. And that gives him access to females. Anyway, he's now stopped attacking the Timberti tree and is ruminating. We'll leave him to ruminate in the early morning glow while we try find whatever else might be around the next corner. Marco is wondering, where does camel leopard originate from? I think you're talking about Camellia pardus, which is the part of the scientific name. So it is like a camel, but it's spotted like a leopard. It's just basically, that's where the scientific or the Latin breakup comes from. It is a camel spots, basically, but the most reference to spots is obviously the spotted cat, the leopard. So that's where that comes from, Marco. The oldest petroglyphs, and not the oldest, the biggest petroglyphs in the world are of giraffe in the Sahara Desert. And they are life-size on a flat rock, and that's incredible. Now, someone took the time to chip out the giraffe shape on a rock in the Sahara Desert. Now, at the moment, the Sahara is a desert, but about 10,000 years ago, it was a beautiful grassland savanna filled with acacia trees and lots of good grass. Now, it has changed now. Oh, I can hear a parrot squawking, but it's flying by at high speed. I was hoping it was going to be sitting in a bush willow feeding on seeds. Hi, Chris. Chris is wondering how many giraffe are in the greater Kruger area. Wow. I'm afraid I could not give you a specific answer. I can try find out for you, though, Chris. A rough estimate from Kruger itself. I don't think we count giraffe in the greater Kruger in terms of game counts. And Chris is also wondering, do they travel in packs? They do. Generally, it's the females that'll travel in a group. And some lovely collective nouns for a group of giraffe. A journey of giraffe is a group of giraffe that is on the move. And a tower of giraffe is a group of giraffe that are standing still. And I'm trying to guess, I'm trying to sort of figure out in the Greater Kruger, what do you think, VM, 10,000? Between 5 and 10,000 would be my guess, but it seems like James is on a birding safari and now he's got a bird that brings death from above.
A bird that brings death from above. Well, that is very dramatic indeed. Well, if you happen to be a lizard, then I suppose, yes, this bird might bring you death from above. It is a lizard buzzard, everybody. A lizard buzzard. Oh, it's going to look for some lizards. Here it comes. It's not very fast, is it, Zander? Too fast for you, but you are from Cape Town. That, everybody, as Kirsten just says, is flying death, you see there. Unbelievable, eh? Flying death. Okay, let's move a little bit forward. We might see some more of that flying death. Death from above. It is very much Brent Leo Smith. It's still in that marula tree there in front of us. Struggle to find lizards in a morning like this. I've got to tell you, it's not warm out here yet. Despite the brightness of the sun, you still see it there. Eggs. There it goes. There we go. That was the lizard buzzard, everybody. It's only about, I don't know, about 3/4 of a foot tall. So not very big, and you saw quite slow flying there. And I suppose if you're catching lizards, you don't have to be able to fly too fast. That's not the only thing it eats. I think it probably eats other birds as well. So it probably just looks a bit slower than it actually is. Very nice. Now we've kind of done a figure 8 around Treehouse Dam. We've come back towards where we found those male leopard tracks simply because we're going to head west towards Arathusa. Lots of birds out this morning. It's really quite nice. Oh, there's a canary. That will be a real challenge for Ukanda here. There. Zander, quickly onto the top of that bush there. There are a whole lot of little canaries. Isn't that nice? Look at that. Yellow-fronted canaries, everybody. We don't get to see them like this often. Beautiful. Alright, they're not that exotic, but what Brent has to show you is both violent and quite exotic.
Well, we've got some male impala doing a dance, the war dance. These guys are about 2 years old. They're practicing for the next rutting season. But it looks like they're more just playing than having a serious argument. Okay, well, it looks like it's all over. So, we'll keep moving. I know we don't have the best camera for this, but there was a request for a crested barbet early on. Where's he hopping? There's he hopping. You see him there, Liam? There we go. Siberia was after the crested barbet. There it is, hopping about atop the jackalberry. Seems like the jackalberries are producing birds today. Oh, yes, unfortunately, right at the top. There we go. Crested barbet for Siberia the Zumi. There we go. Birchall's. Oh no, there was a Birchall starling. There is a Birchall starling somewhere. There he is. Off he goes. Now I heard another bird calling that's around here. We'll have a look if we can find him. There we go, that roller, but unfortunately he was off like a terrible smell. So apart from those lion tracks heading into Buffalo's Hook, we literally have not seen a cat track on the property. And them and I have been working very methodically in a grid pattern. So I think we're going to keep up with our grid pattern, and we're going to head slowly down towards the south, and then we'll head west from there. Still quite chilly, so there's still a chance the cats could be on the move. Or hopefully, even better for us, they'll be stationary basking on a termite mound and decide to move when we arrive. Even the antelope seem to be a bit scarce this morning. We've seen, what, one zebra, some impala, the odd waterbuck. What do you think we should check there? Leadwood. I think we should check Leadwood. Let's go check Leadwood Road. Unless, of course, we find something else that distracts us on the way. Hi, Michael. Michael's asked a very interesting question. Do I think that hyena know which leopards don't hoist their kills and follow them more often? Now, a hyena is a very intelligent animal, far more intelligent than a lion or a leopard. It's a very interesting one. I think that's definitely worth some more study, possibly. I think it's possible for them to learn that. Whether they do or not, it's very difficult to say. I think a hyena is such an opportunist. If it smells any leopard, it's going to follow it. So, that's a very good question, Michael. Think about it. I definitely think it's possible. I think they have the mental capabilities to. Whether they do or don't is a different question. Not even Ellie's this morning. It's always amazing how sometimes we're just inundated with elephants. Like yesterday morning, there were elephant herds everywhere. And this morning, just the tracks of them passing through. Hi, Shamsung. Shamsung's wondering, do guests ever come all the way to Africa for a safari and never see animals like lions and leopards? They do, but it's not very common in this part of the world. but it does happen from time to time, depending on where you are. But the Sabi Sands, I'd say it's unlikely if you're spending 3 nights in the Sabi Sands that you wouldn't see a lion or a leopard. But if you're going to sort of northern Zambia and the Kafue and really wild areas where the animals are not all relaxed, there's a chance you might not see some of those animals. So you generally find that people coming on safari, their first safari, they play it a bit safe, come to somewhere like the Sabi Sands where you're almost guaranteed. And the more safaris they go on, the less it becomes about the big hairies and scaries and more about the experience. So I've done a lot of private safaris over the years, from places like the Sabi Sands to the northern Kafue to the Selous that are completely wild. And sometimes, if you've been on a lot of safaris, going into one of these incredibly wild areas, just seeing a lion or tracking a lion on foot is half the fun. And even if you don't find it, just being out there and being out in one of those last true massive wilderness areas is reward in itself. VM and I were actually discussing a trip we might do in a couple of weeks when we're on leave, up to the northern part of the Kruger, into a very little known area that is hardly any people go. So it borders the Kruger, but it's open to the Kruger, so there's no fence, and it's really hard country up in the, it's on the edge of the Soutpansberg mountains, ravines, and on the Lavuvu River. We've been talking about planning heading up that way in a couple of weeks just for a bit of an adventure. And of course for me, one of the bonuses about that particular area, there are tiger fish in that river. Vim, you're not a fisherman, no.
No, never catch fish my whole life.
Oh, there we go. Vim's never caught it. Should I teach you how to catch a fish, Vim? No. Fishing is one of those things. You're either a fisherman or you're not. You don't really have people sitting on the fence. I think all children consider themselves, if the opportunity there, will fish. As soon as you get a bit older, and in my experience, you're either a fanatical fisherman or you're not. I'm definitely a fanatical fisherman. I probably have 11 or 12 different fly rods. Probably got about, 25, 30 sort of conventional tackle, bait casters, coffee grinders. I have got 4 massive black boxes of different fishing equipment, ranging from a 2-weight 1-ounce fly rod for fishing mountain streams to my massive Saltiga setup that I can catch marlin on. What's that there, that hyena again? Hi, Lael. Lael's in Washington. Lael would like to know, how smart are the South African city folk when they come out camping in the bush with all the predators around? Lael's saying, well, we don't really worry about being eaten when we go camping in the US. Well, see, Lael, I think I'd be more scared camping in the US with all those bears you have. Now, bear is an incredibly massive and powerful animal who human beings fall very much into their sphere of prey. Well, it depends where the South African city folks go camping. Kruger, although there was that incident about that, very unfortunate about that young boy who got attacked by a hyena, those South African city folks might have made a little bit of a slip-up. So I'd say on average South African city folk are not too bad, but us bush folk always consider them bloody townies. oh, look what he's doing, doesn't know how to drive around an elephant. Oh, get into a house. No, I'm really joking, not that bad. But I'd say on average, the South African camping fraternity is quite clued up. I'd say it's a very different type of camping to what you do in the US. So in the US, you quite often, I know a lot of people hike and camp. Now we do have that up in the mountains, and there's not too much of a worry about predators. But as soon as you drop into the low fault and into the game reserves, you can't sleep out in the open, you can't sleep in a hammock, you will get eaten. It's not if, it's when. And so I'd say on average pretty clued up, but fortunately with the most city folk out there, fear rules supreme. So if you're scared, you stay safe inside. Don't get too adventurous. But places like the Kruger, the campsites are fenced. Now, a very interesting story about why the campsites are fenced in the Kruger. One would assume it was to keep the animals out. That, however, is not the case. It was to stop the people from spreading. So what happened is that they demarcated a campsite, and then everyone was there. And then, of course, people don't want to camp right next to other people, or some people do, and that's a very strange phenomenon, I find. So then people would try moving further and further, so out of the demarcated camping site. So they actually just put a fence up to make sure the people didn't spread. Now, talking about strange camping phenomenon, I was doing predator research with the African Predator Conservation Research Organization, APCRO, and my dad's actually on the board of them, and I was volunteering my time while we were catching lions. Oh, Siberia, there we go, that's a bit better for you there. Don't fly. On the edge, yeah, sorry, there. There we go, Siberia. Oh, yeah. Crested barbet escaping again. If we go back. So when? Oh, there he is. Okay, got him. Here we go. Slightly better view of the crested barbet for Siberia. Very pretty bird. Sunning himself in the early morning. So I'm chatting about camping, and so I was in Botswana doing that predator research, and it's really long hours, and you work really hard while you're doing it. So we would go out at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and often only come back at 6 in the morning, and then sleep for 2 hours, then fix punctures. I mean, we set up a mobile laboratory in the middle of the bush. So what happens with these things, and I've got my tent, so I grab my tent when we're moving around the country, moving around the whole northern Botswana. So I would take my tent and march off, and I'd put my tent up far away from other people. Now, I struggle with snorers. I believe that you should be able to purchase a shock collar for snorers, and every time they snore it goes bzzzt. Means if there's someone snoring loudly, I don't sleep the whole night through. So I try and move myself far away from any snorkers.
Apparently I'm good at snoring.
Are you good at snoring, VM? According to Alex, VM is apparently a snorer, so anyone who can design a shock collar for snorers and be most appreciated. So I then go off to go fix the car, refuel the car, whatever I was doing. And we had 2 veterinary students from the US and a friend of mine from South Africa. And I've purposely, like they started setting up their tents there, I purposely have now put my tent about 100 meters away. And I go do whatever I was doing with the vehicles and whatnot. And I come back, and they've literally circled my tent with their tents. And I was like, guys, what are you doing? It's like, no, what if there's a lion? I was like, well, then just stay in your tent, but please don't come snore around me. So I had to move my tent again, and then they still moved their tents closer to me. Shame. They were a little scared. Now, VM, if you want to know about camping in South Africa, VM is what I would call an expert. VM has modified a trailer that folds down that he can pop up into a canvas mansion with a double bed, fridge, sound system. And what else have you got in there, Vim? Supplies for a month, batteries with solar panels to charge. Now Vim is a professional camper. Okay, so we've now checked all the way down to our southern boundary from the north, and we're checking very carefully, very systematically. Unfortunately, we have no sign of any kitty cats or wild dogs. So let's go see how James is faring in the west. Sorry, no, you're stuck. You're back with us, not stuck with us, of course. Back. We are going through the Mawati River. Now, we know Karula does move quite a bit, so even though this area has been checked for Karula early,
Hello everybody. The reason I'm speaking like that, of course, is because it was rather a swift link across. There's a fork-tailed drongo there. I don't think we're going to show you. It's into the sun. You've seen them many times before, most of you. I've always found that it's very difficult to find people who admit to snoring, of course. So it may well be that Brent rails against those that snore, but of course those of us who've spent time, in close proximity to Brent Leo Smith might suggest that he snores. I've definitely been accused of it myself once or twice. I of course deny it flatly. I've never snored. Right, we're going now to Arathusa. We're nearly at the boundary. We'll go and see what's going on there. Many birds going on here at Djuma. But all the lions, after an extended period here, seem to have gone on to Buffelshoek. No one's found them. They're now looking for a cheetah on Torchwood, but no one's found that either. Now, I know Brent did tell you that Shadow apparently killed an impala somewhere around the power lines, which is not too far north from here, and then headed west, quite possibly back onto Arathusa. So that's what we're going to do as well. And we'll see if we don't get lucky with Shadow. I must confess, the lack of elephants and buffalo and that sort of thing is rather interesting. There have been almost no buffalo bulls since I got back from leave, and I think that's because there is a bit of water around the place. Now, this fork-tailed drongo, of course, is so close to us that I think we should probably show him to you. I may even take a rank average photograph of him. Drongo, smile for the camera. Of course, I can't actually find him in my camera because my skills are so poor. There we go. Now these birds, of course, are the last to call at night, just about. And they love to imitate the pearl-spotted owl, which we obviously saw earlier. Pinchy Winer's hat. Wonderful question from you about whether or not people ever book private bird safaris to only look at birds. Pinchy Winer's hat. When I did a little bit of research about, I don't know, it must have been a good 10 years ago now. I think there's a leopard coming this way. There's a great crunching of vehicles. Pinchy Winer's hat. I will talk to you now. Yes. Well, I did some research about 10 years ago. It was globally a $2 billion industry, purely birding safaris. So yes, absolutely, people go purely on birding safaris. The reason I say I thought there might be a leopard coming was there's a great crunching of vehicles in the bushes here. Ah, there's a buffalo. I'm not sure what they are driving out on though. There are a couple of vehicles in front of us there. Everyone, let's just have a look at that buffalo. I'm going to try and get an update from the people on the road here. Stations on the Triple M break between Arathusa and Vuyatela come in. Copy, confirm they're going into Vuyatela. I've got some wild dogs there, guys. Said confirm they're going east. Okay, copy, thanks. Confirm many stations there. Okay, copy. I'll go up. Will you just keep me posted if they go east? People, there are wild dogs there. I think it's going to be worth our while to go up. We can't, well, we can go up the road here. We can't go and join the sighting because there are about 68 vehicles trying to get into that sighting. So what we'll do is, they could well come across onto Vuyatela. None of those vehicles will be able to follow them. So we need to be in a position where we can. And there's a buffalo. We'll stop and look at them for a while. Hello, Beefy. So I'm listening to the radio now, everyone, just to find out if they do go east, which of course is where is to the right of your screen or to the right of this road. And if they go that way, then we're in luck. If they don't, then not so much. Now these are 2 or 3 buffalo bulls of whom I was just speaking, and saying how we hadn't seen them for so long. Some red-billed oxpeckers have landed on them. Let me just go forward. Okay, everyone, I'm just going to stick my head up to the top of the hill here. Sorry, Zanda. Because they've lost them, and they could easily just pop across here without anyone seeing them. Lots of impala around. Lots of vehicles around. Everyone gets so excited when we see wild dogs. We did see them yesterday, of course. So what we're going to do, you can maybe just see up ahead there, there's a road that goes off to the east and then cuts up pretty close to the boundary. We're going to take that road. I do hope they come this way, but it's not looking great at the moment. So apparently they're coming this way. So I'm just listening to the radio, everybody. I know it's a little bit frustrating, and it's not the best wildlife experience, but it's worth just making a little sacrifice to see if they don't come across here. So, just to give you an explanation, if you are perhaps a new viewer, if you can just put the camera on those vehicles up there, Zanda. no more than 3 vehicles in a sighting. There'll be lots of people that are standing by, is what they call it, which means that they're trying to get into the sighting, and those guys there that are watching the wild dogs, or they're actually waiting for them to pop out there, they will be, it means that there's basically a queue to see the dogs. They're still now on Simbambili. They're basically between Simbambili and Arathusa, and they're not coming across at the moment. But what it means is that we can't kind of push in there and try and get much closer, because we have to wait and see if they come onto Djuma. So Djuma's to the right of this road, and then to the left of the road is Arathusa and Simbambili. And X-Ranga, while we're sitting here waiting, I know it's not the best, but I promise it's worth it if they come across here. You want to know how far away from the sighting you should be to not be in the sighting? There's no real official rule. The idea, though, is that you shouldn't be seen. But here we're 500 miles away from them, so we're having no effect on the sighting. So were those dogs to pop out onto the road, hang on a second, then we would still have no effect. I can hear some alarm calling. They've lost them there, everyone. They don't have them there. Oh well. There, Impala running across the road. Now, Sandy, a good one from you. While we're waiting here, you say, how do the personalities of the animals differ in areas where there aren't so many vehicles and people around the animals? Well, they differ in that they are much shyer, much more nervous of people. And I was discussing yesterday about even a male lion, which, I mean, you know that you can virtually run one over here before it will acknowledge your presence. A male lion, the most confident of wild animals out here, the first time they see a vehicle, they run. They're absolutely terrified of them, so they run away from them. And it's the same story with most animals out here. When they first see a vehicle or they first see a person on foot, they're absolutely terrified. But they do habituate slowly, some animals faster than others, lions particularly quickly. Elephants take a long time to develop trust, but they do maintain that trust as long as it isn't broken. So they do differ. Yeah, I'm afraid they're on Simbambili, everybody. So it doesn't look like they're coming this way. Hello, Shelley. You want to know about the wild dogs in this pack that are suffering from that did suffer from distemper? You know I'm just trying to explain it to everybody who perhaps doesn't know. So it was a big pack of dogs from Lower Sabi that died of canine distemper, and we thought the whole pack had been destroyed, but these 3 have not been destroyed. We don't know how they survived. We really have no idea why they survived, and so it's a really interesting sort of situation. I forget now what the actual question was. Kirsten? Oh, are they siblings? You say, are they siblings? Yeah, they most likely are siblings, yeah. If they've come from one litter. The 2 males will almost certainly be siblings. Whether the female is part of the same litter or not, I don't know. She looks the same age as them. But what happens with wild dogs is that they disperse in separate sex groups, and then they join up with other separate sex groups of the opposite sex, because what happens then, of course, is that the genetic legacy or the genetic depth is increased. But what happens, sorry, there's so much going on in my ear right now. What happens is that with a pack like that, they could well have, been decimated, and those ones could have been in the same litter before they're dispersed. So they could be siblings. The males are almost certainly siblings. It's likely, I think, that they're all siblings together. Okay, I'm afraid that's it from here. We ain't going to see no wild dogs in this particular position, but it might be worth going onto Arethusa anyway, and we'll see what we can find there. While we do that, let's go across to Brent and find out what he's been up to.
We're still searching for... We've actually broadened our search range to anything with a heartbeat. A mammalian heartbeat would be most appreciated. I've even been looking for dwarf mongoose with no success. And I think we're going to meander our way towards the area we started the Sunrise Safari in. There were some elephant tracks around there, so fingers crossed. Maybe we'll find some ellies. Could do with some elephants in my life to brighten my already bright mood. Heartbeat! Impala and zebra, yay! Oh, hang on. Oh, he's going east. Hello, Impalalas. Sorry guys, just listening to the radio. Hello, Impalas. And there's a nice little harem of zebras. I think you guys can see a little one through the bushes. Or a sub-adult. So while you look at the beautiful zebras, I'm just going to be on the radio for a second. Sorry, Orbs, what have you got there? Oh, sorry, it was just lion tracks. I was just trying to see if they were heading back towards Vuyatela. Very close where we had those tracks early this morning. I think this is part of the larger group that was on quarantine last night. Now, if any of you have horses, zebra behavior is very similar to horse or donkey behavior in terms of the signs you look at, whether they're distressed or happy. Oh, they're confused impala making a noise. Such a strange noise for an antelope that looks quite graceful and got a very rutting call. Well, zebras look very happy that the lions have gone to Buffel's Hook. Nothing to chase them about. Yeah, we'll continue on with our original plan, but we couldn't pass up on a heartbeat. Okay. Hi, Amber. Amber is wondering how dangerous is it to track an animal on foot? Well, Amber, it depends on how much you know about animals, of course. I think for all of us, it's actually something we really enjoy. and not too dangerous. Far more dangerous getting into your car and driving to town. That's probably the most dangerous thing we do, is driving to the airport or driving into Hoedsprays. Now, if you have experience with animals, most animals don't actually want to hurt you, and even if they're charging, that's normally a warning saying, please leave me alone. So of course there's an element of danger when you're dealing with a potentially dangerous animal. Impalas running, jogging next to us. Where are you jogging to, you lot? They're jogging to more impala that are up ahead. And there's always that potential danger when you do get off the vehicle and you start following tracks on foot. But we are armed, or the most important weapon to take with you when you're walking on foot is experience and reading the individual situations. So quite often what could possibly be a very, very dangerous situation, depending on how you react to that situation, can change it from a dangerous situation to a completely safe situation. So I've been maybe in all my years in the bush in truly, truly dangerous situations twice or 3 times. And once with hippo, actually no, maybe a bit more than that, maybe 5 times. And only with 2 different species, and it's been with hippo and elephant on those occasions. So it depends on how you react. So if you run, you're in big trouble. So quite often what you wouldn't think is the way to behave. So an elephant starts charging at you, you start walking towards it, shouting at the elephant. And the elephant normally reacts in the way you want. But again, every situation is different. You can't say this is exactly what you must do. You need to read every situation independently, and quite often a lot of that comes with experience and instinct. Instinctively knowing what to do at the right time, and because often in those situations you don't have time to think. Now, of course, experience goes an incredibly long way, and coupled with good instincts, you should be quite safe out here. Okay, so apparently those wild dogs have been lost, and they might be heading towards Juma, and they might be heading towards Sandy Patch, so I'm going to speed up and head towards that area. Let me just let the other vehicles know. Stations of the port of Mashoa, heading east from Triple M, Wanaipan. They lost them somewhere in that area. I'm on Zoe's now. I'm going to make my way towards Sandy Patch. They think it's a good place to try relocate. Okay, so from VM and I doing the slow morning cruise, there's only one thing that can really get us on the move, and that's the African wild dog, which is of course my favorite animal, and I was even my nickname while I was in Tanzania, Mwamit, the dog of the bush, because apparently I have about as much energy and is as hyperactive as an African wild dog. Now, while we race like a wild dog towards a potential wild dog sighting, James has got some more equines to show you.
That is the fattest equine I've ever seen. That thing is going to pop fairly soon, I imagine. Very shortly to... Oh, there we go again. Wow, thank you. It truly is, everybody. I'm starting to, it was a bit of a joke to begin with that all the animals relieve themselves as soon as I come into view. Well, it ain't no joke anymore. Absolutely astounding. Anyway, Tasha, you want to know how we age zebra? I'm just going to move off the road because Shania Wiles Bailey's going past. Tasha, we age them by normally the skin condition. So, for example, this one has got pretty good looking skin. We know they live potentially about 14 years or so, maybe up to 15 or 16. But you can see there that the skin condition is very good. The mane looks in good condition. The hair on the tail is full. And so I'd put her at... She is quite sort of bow-spined, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I think she's probably round about between 8 and 10, I'm going to say. She is a big fatty, though. Rena, yes, that zebra is pregnant. I've used just about every euphemism for pregnancy other than saying pregnant. Yes, by saying she's about to pop, what I mean is absolutely she's very pregnant, and I think the fact that she is not with the rest of the herd is indicative that she may actually have removed herself to, because she's about to give birth. It'd be quite nice to see my second zebra birth. I think that'd be fantastic. All right, we're going to carry on. We have quite a nice sighting lined up, apparently. A buffalo met its end. We don't know how it met its end, but as we know out here, very little goes dead without being devoured for very long. And the buffalo has been found by, well, possibly the Bloffeld's most adventurous scavengers. So we'll go and take a look there. And maybe those adventurous scavengers will be part of our clan that has absconded, we're not entirely sure to where, and maybe they'll be part of our clan. Hello, Conrad. You're a new viewer, and you say you're enjoying the stream. Thank you very much. You'll say your only problem is you don't really know about the cutting of streams and how they're moving from one vehicle to another. Well, there's the vehicle here, there's Brent on the other vehicle, and then in the final control, the brains trust of what we do, it sits Kirsten and Rebecca. And Kirsten has basically got a whole lot of fancy equipment in front of her where she can see the two feeds, so she can see what we're looking at and she can see what Brent's looking at, and so whatever's best, she will just flick a switch and cut across to whichever feed is best. And then likewise, when the questions come through, so like your question, she's read that to me in my ear. They're sitting in the final control, receiving the Twitter feed and just monitoring all the questions, and so she'll give me the questions that are most relevant to whatever we're seeing at the time. So that's how it works. Lovely to have you with us, and I hope you stay with us for a while. And please tell us where you're from. That's very important, everybody. Well, it's important to me. I love to know where you're all from. Now, I think this sighting is just up here. It is indeed up here. I can see the scavengers themselves. I cannot see them eating, because I think I can see their bellies actually. Now, those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, well, I'm sure you've mostly figured it out, but we'll have a look now. This is amazing, actually. Seems that there are quite a few hyenas here. Ooh, feeding. I think it is our pals, you know. Sedrach, Eggies. Is that right? Yeah. Look at this, everyone. And buffalo that has died, hyenas all around it. I mean, I can count, we'll we'll get in there a little bit later. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, at least 8 hyenas here. And I think, I don't know this for sure, but let's see if we can recognize any of these hyenas as the ones from our little clan. They are all very, very, very fat. So what we're looking for here, I think, is distinctive adults like Madam, for example. And Conrad, you just, that's wonderful. You say thank you. Well, it's our pleasure, but mostly you say from Kingston in Jamaica. That's fantastic to hear. So, like I was saying, what we would be looking for with these hyenas, if we can recognize them, is obvious spot patterns. In the case of Madam the matriarch, the mangled ears, or the scar-backed female with her scar on the back. I don't think any of the males are here, if this is our group. But some of you who are really good at spotting or identifying the hyenas of the Juma clan from their spots may be able to help us here. I don't see any obvious signs, actually, of our clan numbers. So for those of you who are new, we've had a clan of hyenas on Juma for a long time, and then about, 4 or 5 weeks ago, they moved their den. We don't know where they moved it. It's not on Juma at the moment. We think probably on Buffelshoek or on Simbambili, which are 2 properties we cannot traverse. This is interesting. And from watching the hyenas almost on a daily basis, we've got very little hyena viewing. And I don't think this is them. I don't recognize these ones, but I might be wrong. So what you're viewing there is a real sort of characteristic dominance display by hyenas. Hyenas' dominance is largely maintained actually at a kill site like this, where the dominant females, very strict stratified hierarchy amongst the females and the males, females dominant over males, and it is at these kill sites where the clan will fight over food that hierarchy is enforced. And it's largely a genetic hierarchy. So you inherit your status as a hyena. There's a buffalo cow that died here. Quite astoundingly, this will not ruin the water for the other animals. Now, Bill, all the way from Massachusetts, you're wondering about how long it takes for animals on average to be found when they die. Bill, I don't believe that it would be possible to give you an average that would make any sort of logical, statistical sense, simply because there are so many variables involved. It depends. Where was the buffalo found? Where did it die? Did it die in the open? Was it spotted by birds first? Did it die down in a drainage line, perhaps in the shade, in the cover? It wouldn't have been spotted. This buffalo died near water, in the middle of a drought, so animals are going to come past here all the time. Hyenas especially will drink, and they'll come past waterholes to check what's around, and if one of them had found it, it would have probably called a few of its mates, and they very quickly would have come across here. But if that buffalo had died, say, in the thick bush somewhere under cover, well, could easily have survived, uneaten until it started to rot, and then the elephants would have found it. Not the elephants, the hyenas would have found it. Fantastic. Here comes another one down to the kill. I'm just going to move slightly so that you can get a view of them all. Now, Amber, while we move, you want to know if hyenas only steal other prey or if they hunt. They're actually extremely good hunters, believe it or not. There we go. So, good morning. Amber, they're actually very good hunters indeed. And in many parts of Africa, they hunt more than they scavenge. And if you look at something like the lions of the Serengeti, for example, apparently there are many prides of lions there that will scavenge even more than the hyenas will. So yes, in this area, more scavenging than hunting, but we've definitely seen them kill wildebeest, we've seen them kill various things. We've seen them kill elephants sometimes, very injured, hurt, and small elephants, very weakened, but they will kill them. Yeah, Chris Rogue, I mean, if anyone would know, you would know. You said this doesn't look like our clan. I agree with you. I don't think it does at all. And I think that one eating specifically is one that I've not seen before. Now, I was listening. I went silent there because I was listening to the radio. They haven't managed to re-find those wild dogs. They went east and west, but quite a long way west of where we were looking at them. So I'm just going to give Brent that update. Brent, their tracks going east, but from Southern Fork, and they're on top of vehicle tracks, so those animals went a long way west. I'm not sure if they would have crossed. So, I mean, one of the big things about, if you were part of the Napoleonic Wars, for example, and you wanted to, I don't know why I use that as an example, but if you wanted to sort of poison the landscape, if you adopted a scorched earth policy, what you'd do is toss a carcass of an animal like a goat or a sheep or a cow down into a well, and that would ruin the water, right? Now, you would imagine, therefore, that this festering buffalo sitting in one of the last sources of water would be something of a disaster for the animals out here, but it simply isn't. They just manage to cope with it. Their digestive systems are such that they're able to cope with this foul and fetid water. I'm just going to move slightly. I quite like the idea of moving closer to the water, so I'm going to do that. If other vehicles come in, I'm going to move back out again, simply because there's not space for everybody to go down there. So let's just go and have a look and see. I like the idea of being eye level to hyenas. Moina Dean, a good question about hyenas and their territories. You say, do hyenas have territories? Can you level at this angle? Moina Dean, they absolutely do have territories, yes. And they defend them very vigorously indeed. In case of a clan like this is probably part of that Simbambivi clan, which is or Arathusa clan, which is a very large clan of hyenas. Yeah, that's definitely not a hyena, I know. What you find is that the size of their territory will probably be about, I don't know, maybe 3,000 hectares. So just over about 7,000 acres odd. Isn't that interesting? And they'll defend that vigorously. The males sometimes go foraging into other clan territories. Females generally stay within their own territories. So it's the males that take the risks. She's a very kind of, I hate to say this, but evil-faced hyena. Most hyenas are not, actually. Christy, you're in the Great Smoky Mountains. That sounds like a good place to be, especially in the summertime, I imagine. And you want to know about the other scavengers, the avian scavengers, the vultures. And will the hyenas steal a kill from them? Absolutely. They will certainly kill vultures if they can get hold of them, and they'll chase them off a kill. But vultures are very wily, and it's unlikely they'd be caught. And you see, Amber, this is exactly what I was on about. You say, can animals get sick from a carcass like this, or from drinking this water? And the answer is no, absolutely they cannot. Well, I mean, I guess there must be some cases where they would, but they've just got the digestive systems that are able to cope with rotten meat. And this is not a very rotten carcass. I think this thing was probably, it probably succumbed to whatever injuries it was, unless they killed it. I think it's unlikely, though, that these hyenas killed it. But if they did kill it, I think it was last night, and I think it died last night here. It's not smelling at all, so there's no, it's not rotting yet. You hear that crunching? That's the leather. The hyenas are able to digest the leather of the skin. I mean, this hyena is massively fat already. Ugh. She's just looking up there. And what's interesting is that there are no vultures in the sky above this carcass. I find that very strange. Because it's way out in the open, and so vultures should be able to see it. Very quiet now. It's warmed up substantially since this morning. I know that's a bit grim, everyone. Kevin, nice one. You've obviously been watching for a while, and you know, I suspect that hyenas most closely related to cats, but you say, do their footprints look more cat-like or dog-like? Kevin, they look far more dog-like than they do cat-like. They're they've got claws, obviously, within the tracks, but they're actually, if you're a connoisseur, if you like, of tracks, or aficionado of tracks, they don't look similar. So superficially, I suppose you might say they look more dog-like, but I mean, if you see them, a cat track actually looks much more like a dog track than it does a hyena track, and that's because the hyena track is very squashed. All of the pads of the toes and the back pad are very close together. You can actually see them pushing up against each other, whereas on a dog and a cat track, they tend to be much more exploded. The pads are not really touching each other. So the only similarity really is the claws. So superficially, I suppose you'd look at them and say, ah, well, that looks like a dog track because of the claws. I'm glad I'm not going to be having that for breakfast, I must confess. Oh, very nice. Thank you, Chris Rogue. Again, you say we have seen this clan before, but with the dead hippo at Arethusa. I don't think I was part of that sighting. She's distinctive. This one that's eating now is distinctive, though. She's very stocky. Well, she's also very fat because she's been eating for a long time. But she's got a kind of squashed face and a very obvious sort of distinctive color. I think there's another vehicle coming. I'm just going to move back from here. That's because it's not great if somebody comes in with guests and they can't get into the same position as us. Alright, we're going to sit here for just a little bit longer and then we'll move on and see what else we can find. But while we do that, let's go across to Brent and see what he's got.
Unfortunately, our quiet morning continues. Em and I have just been standing by here listening in case those wild bugs come that way. It seems like they haven't. Unfortunately, no tracks. So I thought I heard some elephants a little bit further to the east of us, so we're going to go have a look in that area. Fingers crossed. Oops, sorry. No, just an update on those lion tracks. They're still... sounds like they killed a baby buffalo last night. And there's tracks coming south, that's towards us. Yeah, let me just ask quickly. Let's just go have a look in that area, just in case they might have come south. And it's also towards where we thought we heard the elephants. So double bonus, hopefully. Lion and elephants, fingers crossed. Now, I wonder what happened with that buffalo that James has got there. Very fascinating. We're going to use gravity. Oh, yay! Elephant! Sounds like my ears were correct. Now, quite often a good set of ears is better than a good set of eyes in the bush. This puts you in the right area. I can only see one at the moment, but there could be a herd here from what I heard a herd. Oh, I'm so funny. Doesn't look too relaxed. You can just see from the behavior, so I've just slowed down. I'm going to pop it into low range. And hopefully, as we get closer, with our slow movement, it'll relax down nicely. Now, Siberia is wondering, can we use the fallen trees from the elephants for lumber instead of chopping trees down? Well, I suppose you could, certain species. A lot of the really good hardwood species, the elephants don't actually push down, and it's a lot of softwood that's not very useful as lumber. We do use some of it as firewood, though. Oh, there we go. I thought I heard more. So I said we do use some of it as firewood, but again, we try not to take too much out of the bush because it is home to scorpions and snakes and spiders and wood lice and centipedes and millipedes and borer beetles. So we try not to remove too much because there is a whole host of smaller creatures that need the trees to be pushed down by the elephant to create homes for themselves. What are you digging up there, madam? Are you after roots or is there tuber? You can just see she's kicking out. Oh no, she's just kicking the roots out, it looks like. Well, let's go a little bit further forward. There's an elephant closer to the road. Look like a young boy. Or was it a young female? I can't really see just yet. Maybe a young female. Ah, young female. Hello, girlie. It's okay. There's the one that didn't look too relaxed, so let's just let her calm down before we move. Oh, there's more elephants behind her. There's lots of elephants around here. Yay! Here we go. Just munch on your sickle bush. I'm just going to move ever so slowly. Oof, there's actually a massive herd. Here we go. See, we're not so scary. Safari says this elephant looks skinnier than the ones we've been seeing. The backbone really looks to be sticking out. It doesn't look too bad to me. And temples are still fine. It doesn't look too skinny. Maybe she's just a slightly differently built elephant, slightly tall. Young female. And we are going to start seeing some skinny elephants, specifically as we move towards October. October is probably going to be the toughest month for all the animals in the bush, just before the first rains of the season. Although if we keep getting little winter sprinkles, it might last them through to the beginning of the big rains. But while we sit and spend time with this incredible animal, James has got something who's eating breakfast.
I suspect it's more a throwover of dinner than it is breakfast, everybody. And we've just watched that hyena drink this water right next to the fetid carcass and then urinate in exactly the same place. So really their stomachs are profoundly strong in comparison with ours, for example. Yes, agreeing thoroughly with me there, you can see. Otherwise not much has changed. The rest of them in such a state of corpulence that they can hardly move. Ali, I can't really answer your question. You say, do I think there are hyena cubs nearby? I'm afraid I've got no idea. I don't know where this clan's central den is, but as far as I'm aware, it's quite a long way west of here, which means no, I don't think that there are cubs nearby, because the cubs don't travel to the kills until they're about 8 months old, and then they'll go sometimes to the kills, but most of the time they stay at the den. And they don't travel sort of with the clan until 8 months to 12 months old. I say it doesn't smell bad, but you just get the odd whiff, but it's not so much of a rotting as it is of dirty water, mixed with all manner of sort of toxins, I suppose you might describe them. And they'll probably lie around here till this carcass is finished. as you can see very clearly, they are extremely fat. So if you look at the ones lying down there, one on the left especially there is under. I mean, look at that belly. They've eaten themselves into an absolute stupor. That's normally how we all feel after we've eaten in camp, after one of Amanda's meals. Emmy, you wondering if that, you say, weight, I think probably as an indication of your incredulity, you say, is that hyena pregnant or just fat? I think she's quite possibly just fat. If you look at her, she's definitely got some swollen teats there. They indicate to me that she's lactating. They certainly look like she's lactating, so I don't think she's pregnant in the slightest. I think she's just covering or carrying an enormous amount of meat in her belly.
So right now they won't because they have the dead buffalo. They're busy feeding them. But the hyenas are not very good hunters.
Do you think we could get a better angle up there?
So you get the sun behind.
Yes.
We're just getting, there's another guest, or vehicle full of guests here. Yeah, so Kimmy, not pregnant, just fat. And I mean, I say fat. I mean, fat normally indicates some kind of storage of fat. They don't store fat. You know, very few animals out here are able to store fat, and so she's not fat so much as engorged, just full of meat. So unlike say domestic animals or human beings, which store enormous amounts of fat if we eat too much, animals like out here don't. Laurie in Central California, a slightly disturbing question from you. You say if a murder was committed out here in the bush, would the animals eat it? And before the authorities got here? Well, Laurie, I don't want to ask why you're asking that question, but the answer is absolutely the animals would happily eat a dead human being. Hyenas, lions especially, they would eat absolutely happily eat dead human flesh. Whether or not they would wait for the authorities, I think would depend on the efficiency of the authorities. So out in South Africa, you'd probably find that they'd get away with it, devour the human carcass long before the authorities came anywhere near. That's certainly one of the more interesting questions I've ever been asked. Thank you, Laurie. Don't want to know why you asked it. Alright, let's head back across to Brent Smith and his elephants. I think we're going to leave here, if you don't mind, everyone, just simply because I think we might be lucky with either shadow or perhaps those wild dogs. So let's head off from here. Wonderful sighting that we've had, and we'll hand you back to Brent Smith and his large giants.
We're still with the same female. She has now become completely relaxed because we just sat quietly with her, and she's busy munching on a veritable bush willow. So the rest of the herd is very spread out. It just always amazes me how dexterous they are with that trunk. And they're able to manipulate and move their food into the correct position. Did you hear that? Just a little rumble communicating with the others. I've been watching carefully. There's some females and babies, and I think they're moving through the bush towards Gallagher shortcut. So this is quite a big herd, so there might be some down there already. And also, of course, there's some water down there, so maybe some of them might be already at the pan. So we're going to go have a look there. And if they're not at the pan now, they might be there in the next 10 or so minutes. And hopefully James does have some shadow luck. Unfortunately, I think Karula is still down in the south, so she might come back during the day. Now, since we've just seen elephants and we're hoping to find some drinking next, I've got a quiz for you. Where exactly are the largest elephant tusks in the world? Where are they from, and where do they currently reside? Where are the largest, the longest and heaviest elephant tusks ever recorded? Where are they from, and where do they currently reside? If you know the answer to that, questions@wildearth.tv is the email address to send your answer to, or you can use the hashtag #SafariLive on Twitter. Where are the largest and longest elephant tusks ever recorded from, and where do they currently reside? Okay, so there was some moving through here, so I'm going to try and get to the pan ahead of them. Can you see any through there? Maybe not. Let's have a look. Are there any tracks on the road? And if they're not there, they're on their way there. And just a few more updates on the Nkuhumas. They did kill a baby buffalo, so it's already finished. They finished it overnight, and their last tracks were heading south. There are no tracks that come out onto Njuma yet, but hopefully, who knows, maybe they'll move during the day, so we'll definitely check around there on the sunset safari to see if those lions make an appearance. I wonder what else could be down at the Gallagher pan. Now, we're hoping for, what are you hoping for, VM? VM's hoping for leopard. I'm thinking maybe buffalo, hopefully elephant, but if VM is correct, I might do a little dance for joy, a jig. Now, it's seldom that we go a whole morning without seeing one set of leopard tracks. Maybe they're all safely tucked up in the middle of the blocks with a kill. Okay, as we come around the corner to the pan, there is unfortunately no elephant, no leopard. Well, it was worth a try. And let's carry on. It's always a good area to look for all sorts of things. I could even find it in Kahuma Lioness, the one who's still got those young cubs that she has to return to feed. So she meanders around, and we suspect her current den site for those cubs is in this area. And Yankee girl is wondering where Benjamin Button is. Well, he's in the bush somewhere. That could have easily been his herd, but a lot of them were very spread out. And this is where those male lions were roaring from last night. I'm just trying to see how they... Hang on. No, and they went straight north. So where we found their tracks crossing was almost directly opposite us now. I was just hoping there might be one male left over. Well, there could have been 2 male tracks. I might have missed the second track crossing. Especially if they made a kill. The males, even if they weren't with them, would have heard it and shot off in that direction. Hello, Mr. Fire Sky. Mr. Fire Sky would like to know whether lions have the ability to kill elephants. They do. Not an adult bull or an adult cow, but sub-adults, yes. And in certain parts of Africa, and specifically in the Chobe, Savuti, Kwondo region of northern Botswana, there are prides of lions that have developed that skill. And they'll target elephants from about 12 years old to 20. And it does take an incredibly long time for them to do it. It can take up to 7 or 8 hours to kill an elephant. I have actually been lucky enough to see that happen twice. And it is quite a heart-wrenching thing to watch. But yes, they do have the capability of taking down an elephant. Oh, spider webs. Morning Glory says the largest elephant tusks ever recorded were from Tanzania. That is correct. And they're at the Tanzanian History Museum. That, however, is incorrect. They are at the Natural History Museum in London. So there's quite an interesting story that goes with those tusks. They were shot by an Arab slaver / ivory hunter by the name of Tipo Tip. He shot them on the foothills or below Mount Kilimanjaro. He then gave those massive tusks, I think 230 odd pounds aside, he gave those tusks to the Sultan of Zanzibar. The Sultan of Zanzibar then gave them, oh, this is so bumpy here, to the British consulate, who was based in Zanzibar. They then hung outside the entrance to the British consulate for many years. And when the British consulate left Zanzibar, he took them with him and gave them to the Natural History Museum in London. So quite a fascinating story that goes along with the largest elephant tusks ever recorded. Now, a lot of the next largest elephant tusks ever recorded are from this low fault of South Africa and the Kruger National Park. There are some massive elephant bulls in this area. Hopefully some of them come for a visit soon. While we will an elephant with massive tusks to come visit, let's go see what James is up to.
I just went for a little walk, everybody, and we did actually see some elephants. Well, I saw some elephants. They're in this very thick block, and I'm afraid we're not going to blast in there after them. You've had a nice elephant sighting with Brenty, so I had a nice elephant sighting on me own on foot, and they didn't see me, which was very pleasant. I just thought the reason I went for a walk was we had a grey go-away bird going quack, quack, and sometimes that's an alarm call. It was round about where you had the update from Brent earlier, where the shadows Shadow killed an impala, we think, that was stolen by hyenas, and it was dragged around here somewhere, and we thought her tracks were heading back in this way. Cedric said the same thing, so I was just thinking maybe she was on one of the termite mounds here, but I didn't find anything other than the elephants. So, no leopard thus far, no sign or sound or smell, mainly, of wild dogs either. But we might be lucky in the last few minutes, well, the last 20 minutes or so. See what else we can see. Hello, Amoy Nadine. You're interested in black leopards, and you want to know if we find them here. Answer is possibly. In other words, it is possible that some might occur here at some stage. Do we see them? No. Do I believe there to be any in the Sabi Sands? No, I do not. And that is simply because they are not adapted for this particular landscape. A black leopard, which is the same species of leopard, everybody, is simply much more well adapted to forested areas like the Congo Basin or the jungles of India, for example. That's where a black leopard would thrive. But they have been seen up around Lydenburg. Now, Lydenburg, there are forested areas around Lydenburg, and it's basically in that direction up onto the mountains, and another sort of 60 miles or so you hit Lydenburg. And that's basically, there have been 1 or 2 records of black leopards there, caught I think largely on camera traps, so not actually seen like they are seen here. In fact, there are very few places in the world where you can come and view cats, especially leopards, like you can in the Sabi Sand, where they are as relaxed as they are here. This is one of my favorite little glades. You stop here and appreciate this little glade for a second. Do you like this glade, Eggs?
Yes.
Yes, it is a beautiful glade full of tambuti trees. And this one above us, an nkahuma tree or a brown ivory. It's lost its leaves, hoping for spring, which will be very shortly. No leopards seem to be wandering through my favourite little glade at this stage. That's very artistic of you, Eggies. Eggies is from Cape Town, of course. It makes him immediately attempt to be artistic at all times. Rachel, you say you keep hearing different names or different pronunciations for the names of the animals out here, and you use the example of Shivambalana versus Shivambalan. And you want to know why that is. Well, it's basically because few of the... Sorry, there was a leopard-shaped piece of termite mound here. It's just because people are not au fait with, sufficiently au fait with the local languages to understand how they are said. So, let's take Shivambalana, that's a good one. Shivambalana, the correct pronunciation is Shivambalana with the A on the end of it. But if you hear a Shangaan person saying it, to the untrained ear it might sound like Shivambalan. It isn't. There are no Shangaan or Zulu words that end in a consonant. They all end in a vowel. So if you hear any Shangaan or Zulu word that is said with that is not finished with a vowel, you know it's been incorrectly pronounced. So it would be, if you were a Shangaan, you might say Shivambalan, and it sounds like you've ended on the end, but there's actually a very slight A, Shivambalan. Shivambalan. See that? And that's why you get the change. And there are lots of names that basically that have been given by white people in an attempt to not an attempt, as a sort of through a mishearing of the language, even the word Shangaan. Shangaan is incorrect, and that's, you know, people will say that the language people speak here is Shangaan, but if you hear a Shangaan person say it, they'll say it Changaan, and Changaan, there's a very slight A on the end of it, and so, yeah, Shivambalana is the correct way, Shivambalan is not correct. And it's just because of a lack of familiarity with the local languages. That's all it is. Right, now, do we go left or right? I think we go left. For the wild dogs were last left in this block near One-Eyed Pan, which is a pan on Simbambili, which is we're not allowed to go to. I have been there by mistake twice. But we won't go there by mistake today. Alright, let's go and get an update from Brent while I go quite quickly up this road and back on to Djuma.
Now this is another area we think there might be a lion den. I'm going to see if I can see where that bird is looking. I can't see. There's the grey go-away bird. So she did have her den here last week. I'm just going to pop my vehicle to the edge of the cliff here. See if there's not a lion. It's in an excellent position to not be seen by us. See, it's very upset. It's very steep here. It could be a leopard down here, you never know. Okay, let me just have a quick peek. Always use your ears. It's a massive cliff, so there's an undercut here. Could be a really good place for a lion den. Probably about 9 meters. Nope, no luck. Worth a check. So I think we've got enough time for one more brain teaser before the end of the sunrise safari. And you two make me get out of the car. Oh, what's going on with this? It's telling me to go away. Cheeky bird. Very aptly named bird. Go away bird. Okay, so we have a bit of a gremlin issue here, so we're going to jump back on board with James quickly.
There was a little steenbok there, everybody. Unfortunately, it has absconded, run away into the bushes, lacking courage, lily-livered. We were talking about language just now, and Oh, there it is, there it is, there. See on top of the tree there? It's a raptor, everyone. That's not what we were talking about. It's not what I was going to talk about. But remember the lizard buzzard, everyone? That's what it sounds like. Death from the sky, as Brent Smith said. Well, there is death from the sky calling now. I don't think I can recall seeing 2 lizard buzzards in one drive before. It's amazing. Also, you know, I'm taking the binoculars, and I'm going to ask Xander to just pan up into the sky, because with his bare eyes he's not going to be able to see what I'm looking at. And you can see vultures everywhere in the distance. Can you see them there? No. But keep zoomed in. Keep zoomed in over the top of the... And just change the focus a bit and see if they don't pop into view. No. No, sorry about that. But there are lots of them there. I can see them with the binoculars. Well, we got a very nice shot of the blue sky there, Xander, don't you think? Yeah. It was a very pretty blue colour. I promise you get there. Now you can see them coming into view. Can you see them now? Flying over the top of the tree.
I see them.
Here come the vultures, everyone. Just in case you didn't believe me. There are 2 of them calling. There's one behind us.
Yeah, but now they're going...
It's almost impossible to focus on them, hey, because you've got no kind of distance on them. Anyway, lots of them flying in now, starting to get warm. And they're just finding the thermals to fly around in. Now, don't worry about them. Let's have one last look at the lizard buzzard, and then we'll move on before death hits us from the sky. Yeah, there are 2 or 3 of them calling. Very nice. Thank you, death from the sky. Let's move on. Start making our way back towards home and some coffee and seeds. Also been doing a first aid course, everybody. Ooh, we're really close to this lizard buzzard. There we are. Super zoom in. Oh, look! How cool is that? There he goes. He looks a bit faster than his mate from earlier on. Very nice. And Marie, a nice query from you, because I don't really know how to answer it. You say, where are all the snake eagles? I can't remember the last time I saw a brown snake eagle. So a very good query. I don't know, the answer is. And you say you'd love to see them carrying snakes. Quite like to see them carrying snakes too. Not many snakes about at the moment because the temperature ain't so fly for them. So they're largely down in termite mounds trying to stay warm. Okay, thank you very much, everybody. Brent's got something quite special to show you. We'll see you this afternoon at 3 o'clock. Until then, thank you, Xander, and goodbye.
Well, it is quite special. There's some red-breasted swallows. So we've got a juvenile, which is the one in the middle, or in the center of frame, and 2 adults either side. And I'm hoping, how I found them is they were calling. They've got a very cool call. Them stretching their wings, getting ready to go hawk for insects. Come on, one more call. They were calling quite frequently. So we're just going to listen. Come on, guys. Don't get shy. Wings stretching. basking in the sun. They are very, very pretty little birds. Bit of wing preening. Okay, well, we're causing a traffic jam. Let me just move so all we can get... Oh, there it is. There's the call. Do it again. It's very, very distinct. Very swallow-like. Quite a few swallows have a very, very similar call with slight nuances. Now let's just move so all we can get past us. Okay, so there we go. Red-breasted swallow. Now, we've got one last little quiz for the morning, and it's a bit of a fun one. And it is, what is James Henry's favorite bird? Now, it's small, quite nondescript, but has a beautiful singing voice, a bit like James. So if you know what James Henry's favorite bird on Djuma is, you can let us know, hashtag Safari Live or questions@wildearth.tv for your answers. I'm wondering what wonders await on quarantine. Hopefully something we haven't seen yet this morning. Vim, what do you see apart from the hornbill in the road? Oh, apparently you've got some wonderful screenshots of those swallows. That's great. It's not something you get to see nicely quite often because they're often on the move, on the fly, on the flutter. Wow. I was hoping that it warmed up. There might be some nice herbivores or grazers on quarantine. And it seems devoid of life at the moment. Or devoid of mammalian life. Oh, Siberia, you're not as helpful as we would have liked, but another crested barbet. Let's see if we can get a view from the other side. Oh, there. Well done, Anna-Marie, Gretchen and James Richard, spot on. The small nondescript bird with a beautiful voice, which is James's favorite, is the white-browed scrub robin. And James also does an incredible mimic. He's an incredible mimic of the white-browed scrub robin. He can whistle that tune perfectly. I, of course, if I attempted, would butcher it. So I'm not even going to try. Okay. So we're coming towards the close of the Sunrise Safari, and it's been wonderful having you with us. The cats were a bit quiet on the safari, but that's how it goes. This is the African bush. We are live. We can't open the cage and let them out on demand. But good to hear the Nkuhumas had a meal last night. Now, hopefully, fingers crossed, that we are going to get some leopards moving during the day and hopefully come on to Djuma. And as I say, we're very lucky to live out in this absolutely beautiful part of the world and get to do something we love and take you guys on drive with us twice a day, every day. So the Sunset Safari will be starting in a few hours, and I know myself and the rest of the team can't wait to do it all again with you. So from all of us, while we go feast on some breakfast, hopefully if it's too late, I hope you get some sleep. Bye.